Stock markets around the world have plunged for a second day today as China announced retaliatory tariffs of 34% on US imports, signalling what is now a major escalation of a trade war ignited by Donald Trump and feeding fears of a global recession. Although he, of course, would say that the trade war was ignited by other countries putting tariffs on the US. Let's speak to Ambassador Carla Sands, former member of Donald Trump's Economic Advisory Council and former US ambassador to Denmark, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands. Great to speak to you, Ambassador. Thank you very much indeed for coming on. Would you have recommended that the president do this?
Well, Tom, this is something he started in his first administration, and it was wildly successful. He added 500,000 new manufacturing jobs not long after he began to impose tariffs for trade imbalances. And then I think toward the end, before the pandemic hit, he had added 750,000 new manufacturing jobs. And let's just look at the facts as they are. We are not making enough goods in the United States. You have to make things and be a manufacturing power to be a great power in the world.
The problem is that anyone who gets a new job might also have to pay more from their wages on the stuff that was cheaper because prices are going up for Americans because of this.
Well, Janet Yellen during the Biden administration said tariffs don't actually cause prices to go up. So I think that's to be disputed. But the fact
You're
that
taking your economic advice from Janet Yellen.
I'm saying that on both sides of the aisle, because we have Scott Bessent also supporting our current Treasury Secretary, we don't process and mine rare earth minerals in the U.S. You have to have those for arms and for cell phones and many other things. We have to make steel and aluminum in the U.S., so we're making that a major push. And then you have to make things like cars and heavy equipment, because in the terrible event of a conflict, a major conflict, all of those industries, they scale up to supply the mission of the offensive and defensive military capabilities.
This is a view of the global trading order that would have made Ronald Reagan faint. This level of protectionism,
I disagree.
Is off the. I mean, he's on the record as having said it. We played the clip the other day that America is best when it is facing the world and trading freely.
I saw Ronald Reagan's son. He supported this. So I'll just say this. The fact that China during the pandemic threatened the U.S., we may not send those rare earths you need. We may not send those pharmaceutical precursors you need. Well, if any nation that wouldn't take the threats at face value and fortify their country's manufacturing is a stupid nation. So President Trump is thinking of the American people and our security, and he's saying, we're going to make those pharmaceutical precursors in the U.S. We're going to nearshore and onshore the essential things to be a great power. You cannot be a service economy and be a great power that projects military strength.
You mentioned there steel, which is obviously very, very important.
Yes.
The last blast furnace in the UK steelmaking plant is about to be shut by its Chinese owners.
Yes.
What's your view of that?
I think it's another part of their asymmetrical war. How in the world can our great friend and ally, the UK, where we have our special relationship, we wouldn't have won, I get chills talking about it, Tom, we wouldn't have won World War II without the UK being a great superpower and making things. It would not have gone the way it went. You all would be speaking German. So the fact that they're turning off your last ability to make steel in the UK, you're not part of the EU. We love that you did Brexit. It's important that you have your own borders and your own laws, your own rule of law, and you're not ruled by overlords that are unaccountable. But the fact is, you have to make things to be a superpower. I'm worried personally about the UK and your industry. Energy costs are too high. You're doing things like a net zero crazy agenda where people literally froze to death in London just 2 winters ago. 10,000 people died because of high energy costs. You have to have cheap and abundant energy. Your energy policy has to change. And I really encourage the UK. You are our special ally. Work with President Trump. Get your economy and your border in a good place. Get your energy situation in a good place and make things in the UK.
Would you advise President Trump to invade Greenland?
Well, putting aside Greenland for a minute, let's talk about our middle class in the UK and in the US.
Well, hang on, no, let's talk about Greenland.
Hollowed out.
Let's talk about Greenland.
Okay.
Let's talk
So
about Greenland.
Greenland. All right. So I've been to Greenland 5 times. The Greenlandic people are wonderful people. They want opportunity and prosperity. And I did everything I could while I was the US ambassador to help them grow their mining industry by getting funds from the US State Department to help them get their contract law in a good place, because companies couldn't, the contract situation wasn't in a good place for the mining. They wanted success in their tourism, and they wanted their kids to learn to speak English, not Chinese, as their second language. So I got teachers to help with the English teaching. I have to say, the Trump administration really supported that effort, even though Greenland is too rich to receive that help that I was able to get. So President Trump knew that Greenland was in a bad place. Their economy needs to grow, and Denmark just kind of keeps them on a kind of
But what does he want there?
pattern, not growing. What's that?
What does he actually want from Greenland? What's the aim of owning it, taking it over, whatever?
Well, the aim is the benefit to the Greenlanders and the United States. And I will just say, and
They
all of
don't
our
want
friends
you.
in Europe and
They
the
don't want you.
UK,
They're not interested in you.
here's what they want. They want independence. But they rely on Denmark for
American
about
ownership.
$600 million a year in welfare transfer. But then Denmark benefits. All the shipping goes through Denmark. All the flights, almost every flight goes through Denmark. So Denmark, and they have interests in the fishing in Greenland and a lot of other business interests. So Denmark benefits, but they also send money to Greenland. That's fine. But Denmark can't afford to defend them or develop Greenland.